let's just say there's all these people definitely rooting for Bernie Sanders. And recently we just had some news with sort of the Black Lives Matter movement protesting at one of these
movement. Are we saying organization? Are we saying movement? We got to be very specific here.
Go ahead and be specific. I got you.
So when we say the Black Lives movement, we mean the movement for Black lives, not the organization, but it's actually both of those entities that are helping to influence how Bernie Sanders moved, but they're not.
Thank you, Amira, for being for clarifying for us and saying, is it one or the other? But it's actually both.
It's both.
I got you. It is both though. So,
but you can be in the organization. You can.
The message is Black Lives Matter.
But the difference.
But there happens to be an organization.
So
what I'm saying that you can be a part of the organization.
The message is Black Lives Matter.
But what I'm saying is that you can be a part of the organization and still be a part of the movement for Black Lives Matter, versus you can be a part of the movement for Black Lives Matter and not
be a part of the organization. That's very true. So Jordan, do you want to talk over what happened at the Bernie Sanders event?
Yeah, there's been so much. Which one? which time they took the mic from Bernie?
By the way, your heads are a little cut off, so you might want to move the camera a little bit, so so people can see the hair that's up.
I have lots of head to put in it, so that might be the issue. It's fine.
She just wants to include half her forehead today.
Oh my God!
I'm done. All right, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. Which one are we talking about?
Can we not just have Pick on Jordan Day? Jesus. So there's been all this drama with Bernie Sanders and Black Lives Matter. It started because in Seattle, there was a protest. Well, it was actually the second time that Black Lives Matter did an action where they took the mic from Bernie Sanders and kind of said, we want you to be unapologetic about Black lives and what is your agenda for Black lives and what type of policy do you want to push? So then there's been pushback, lots of, it's been kind of a Black Lives Matter versus Bernie Sanders versus white tears argument because of the reaction, because now you have the white liberals that are just like, whoa,
he marched with MLK. Didn't you see him in the march? He wrote a paper about it.
Don't get our Bernie. Don't touch our Bernie. How can you talk about Bernie? Why aren't you talking about Hillary? Why aren't you focused on Donald Trump? Why aren't you focused on the GOP folks that don't care about Black lives? Bernie cares about Black lives. So now you have people that are they call themselves allies, maybe they don't, but now they're having this debate about why are Black people attacking and these Black activists attacking Bernie Sanders when Bernie Sanders is the most progressive that progressive gets. I mean, the dude is a socialist. Like, he says that he's a socialist. He calls himself a socialist.
Except when it comes to gun issues, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh,
but okay, yeah. But you're right.
So what it brought to me, it was just like, wow, I thought that it was interesting because what they're doing by attacking the dude that calls himself the socialist, the guy that is progressive when it gets to like progressive senators and progressive politicians, is really unpacking what are the values of, what are these progressive values and what is the progressive agenda, and when have Black and even brown lives been at the center of progressive agendas?
And you can't just say your resume is legitimize all of the work, legitimize you in the movement. You also have to have policy recommendations that go in line with our values, and that's what they're calling for.
And they're specifically saying our values. Because we can talk about so many different issues and so many different movements in the past where Black and brown lives had to sit at the back, even though they were disproportionately affected. You can talk about education. You can talk about the environment. You can talk about so many issues. Economic inequality doesn't mean racial justice. Yeah. And that's what they're wanting Bernie Sanders to say. We want you to be unapologetic about your Black agenda for Black folks. Mm-hmm. Not saying that this is going to trickle down. This is going to trickle down, because we're not that whole trickle down method. That don't work.
Except for when it rains.
That don't work.
I'm so done. No, I think, I obviously completely agree. And I think that the point here is, like, so many presidential elections have always been run on sort of issue-based campaigns, right? And when it comes to actual like race and ethnicity, I think we've always been afraid to talk about it as a country. And it's really been like, oh, if we fix education, then by fixing education, then in that turn, we're able to fix A, B, and C, right? We're able to fix the Black issue or the Latino issue. If we fix, if we fix immigration, and all these points, instead of just really talking about race as a whole. And so I think it's awesome that it's sort of like being called out, and we're holding people accountable. And I think that that's what's important. And I personally hope to continue seeing presidential candidates being held accountable during this time. So
I also just love how they're making people uncomfortable. And the people that are even on that side. Because I mean, we've had discussions about it. It's just like, well, I love when people are uncomfortable.
Because you can't get true progress without making everyone feel uncomfortable. I'm sorry, like true progress requires us to be comfortable being uncomfortable and saying the things like, if you're a true ally, that means you have to sometimes call out your family, call out your friends,
call out yourself,
family, your coworkers,
call out yourself.
Yeah, turn a mirror to yourself.
And that's what it's doing, and that's where the white tears comes from, because it's making these like white liberals and white progressives that are just like, we about it, we about that life. Kind of question, am I really about that life?
But that's what. So when we refer to white tears, let's be very clear. It's not.
Are you talking about yourself, or are you talking about me?
No. My tears are like clear. So I have like biracial and racially ambiguous tears. So that's what I'm going to claim right now.
I'm done.
But when we say white tears, we mean when people who consider themselves to be allies, or people who consider themselves to have marched in the movement or stood with us on not just on the sidelines, but in the front lines, when they start to say, oh, we've been doing this work, but they're defining that by their own terms and not how we define it based on our values and what we determine to be an allyship and to be a partnership between the two.
And when I said white tears, I just meant the tears that fall down white people's eyes.
Okay, on that note,
I'm done.
let's